3-4 minutes. Just to tell you that Envirotech was started in 1981-82 with the implementation of Air Pollution Act in the country. And one of the requirements in that act was that every air polluting industry was required to monitor their emissions and keep them under prescribed limits. That was a basic requirement, and those industries were required to seek a consent from the pollution control boards of every state. Now the difficulty at that time was that act had come, requirement had been laid down for the industries, but there were no instruments and manpower available at that time. India had just started air pollution subject, and awareness about hazards of air pollution, impact it is causing on the air quality, and its detrimental effect on the human health, vegetation, crops, plants was unknown. So Envirotech was born around that time, and it was under the leadership and directions of Professor G.D. Agarwal, who was at that time Member Secretary of the Central Pollution Control Board, and he virtually motivated me, or I would say pushed me into this business. I was doing some other business at that time, and we started with the India's first stack monitoring system. Since then, we got interested so much in this field that we never looked back and thought of any other business. And since then, it's almost now 28 years, we have been doing that business exclusively in the field of air pollution and air quality monitoring. And when the EP Act came in 1986, which required every industry who were willing to or who were interested in either expanding their capacities or trying to set up a new unit, they were required to carry out a detailed impact assessment study, and based on that impact assessment, it was being evaluated by the Ministry of Environment and Pollution Control Boards, and if they saw that there was no detrimental impact due to that industrial activity, they were given clearance. So that act was called Act to Establish, and every industry was required to seek a consent to establish an industry under that act. It was a kind of an umbrella act which required every industrial unit or every developmental activity to assess its impact on all components of environment, whether it is air, water, soil, noise levels, vegetation, crops, even on structures, forest, wildlife, on everything. This means this required a study of air quality monitoring in various, throughout the components of environment. It required different kind of instrumentation. So we again came up with the development of high volume samplers and wind monitoring systems, and provided that much needed sort of instrumentation needed for that purpose. In 1991-92 period, three major acts came. One was Motor Vehicle Act, which required all motorized vehicles to take a PUC, Pollution Under Control certificates. So we produced a smoke meter to monitor smoke emissions from dieselized vehicles. In 1991, Montreal Protocol was signed by all the countries of the world under UN umbrella, and a requirement came that ozone layer has to be protected. Today we are talking of climate change. At that time, the big issue was that there is a hole in the ozone layer over the environment, and everybody was concerned how to reduce it. So they decided that let's destroy the ozone depleting substances. We were of the opinion that let's not destroy, let's recover and recycle the ozone depleting substances, mainly CFCs. So we produced a CFC recovery and recycling system. It is another matter of fact that since all the world wanted not to recycle, they just wanted to destroy. So that equipment did not got popular, but we still believe that recycling and recovery and recycling was the best option. Occupational exposure became a very big issue. The people who are working in the factories, and they were exposed to fugitive emissions, mining dust. So personal samplers were needed, that whatever exposure is happening to the workers, it should be monitored and it should be controlled. So we developed personal samplers at that time. In 1994, ambient air quality standards were revised, and another important parameter was added in that, that was respirable dust, because it was believed that the entire dust which is generating because of various activities, either of combustion or crushing or mining, the entire dust does not go inside our human body because our nose, nostrils block the major coarse portion of the dust. Means dust which is more than 100 micron or more than 10 micron does not go inside, and we only inhale less than 10 micron particles. So it was emphasized that why are we measuring or why are we not measuring the 10 micron particle size. So we had produced in 1991 period itself, because we knew that this requirement is going to come to the country, and because entire world people practicing health, medicine and health, they were all concerned about the human health. So we produced a respirable dust sampler, and when the standards were revised, we were ready with the respirable dust sampler available in the market. And because of that availability, today after 15 years, we have lot of data on respirable dust because of those instruments provided by Envirotech. In 1998, petrol was de-leaded and a benzene derivative was added. And this means in the petrol, benzene was being mixed as an anti-knocking compound. And because of the burning, the benzene compounds came into the ambient air. So a need arose that we must monitor these organic vapors and benzene in the ambient air. So we produced a portable organic vapor sampler which used to help to monitor benzene. In 2000, we again saw that international community is talking about fine particulates, more fine than 10 microns, because they felt that the particles which penetrate or go inside our body remain in the upper trachea up to 10 microns, but finer particles go deep into our lungs and settle there, and it's difficult that they will not come out. And they are more injurious to human health, and they are causing more serious damages. So we realized that at that time we will have to have an instrument which can measure very fine particulates. We produced a PM2.5 sampler at that time. At that time, US EPA, the world's United Nations Environmental Protection Agency, they standardized a design and circulated all over the world, put it in the public domain, and requested everybody to follow that standard design. So Indian government also adopted that design, and we developed our instrumentation based on that design. And today in 2009, on 18 November 2009, that requirement has become mandatory under this new ambient air quality standards. So we saw to it almost 9-10 years before, and we produced that equipment. And now in the new ambient air quality standards, some new parameters have been added, so there will be need for new instrumentation to monitor those. And I'm sure in times to come, with industrialization, urbanization, and rapid growth in the vehicular population, more and more different kind of parameters would be required to be monitored, because we are already talking about ethanol being added to petrol. This means formaldehydes and other kind of components are going to come into the air, and we may need to monitor all those parameters. So that was on one hand that we took up the leadership to provide the instrumentation. On the other hand, we also felt, as I mentioned in the beginning, that manpower was again another constraint. So we tried to develop manpower. We tried to organize a small 2-day, 3-day, 5-day short courses right from 1985. And I'm very happy today standing here because in 1985, Ghaziabad was the first venue where we had organized our first course. And it is after 25 years we are again in Ghaziabad and organizing our 51st course in Ghaziabad.